This week on Jaywalking, I'm joined by another former student. Well, I should say student athlete. Coached him in baseball. We had a lot of fun. Great chat. You get to hear about my crazy motorcycle days if you stick around to the end. A lot of fun stuff. Make sure you follow him on social media at Young Patrick Does Comedy, and enjoy the episode. See you next time. Welcome back. Another week of Jaywalking. I have a guest this time. I know you're excited. I am too, because it is I don't know if a former student, but former athlete, right?
Yeah.
So Young Patrick in the house. Patrick, do you just want to go by Young Patrick?
I mean, my name's Pat, but yeah, on stage, Young Patrick.
Young Pat. Well, my first name's not Jay, I'm glad you're here, Pat in the house. I start by asking people how we met. So why don't I let you say how we met?
I believe it was 7th grade baseball tryouts.
Yes,
You guys thought I was good at first and wanted me to try out for the 8th grade team. It was me and Chase. We both tried out for third base on 8th grade.
That's right.
Chase got the job.
That's right.
I ended up not even being a starter, I think, on the 7th grade team.
I peaked day one of tryouts.
Yeah.
It's funny. I I have vague memories because this was good a while ago. What year did you graduate high school?
2014.
So then that would have been, 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
So I was probably in my third or fourth year teaching at that point. So that's interesting. And I loved coaching baseball. And I loved doing the middle school program specifically. Because I always had a lot of pride in it. I mean, I don't know. It would be interesting to hear your take. But, my intention was, especially with tryouts, because I always thought tryouts were the hardest part. Because I didn't have to go through that as a kid. The school I went to, we barely had enough guys just to form a team. So, if you had a pulse and you were a male, even if you weren't, if you were a female that wanted to play and could play, we would have had you come on too, because we didn't have a softball team. But I didn't have to go through that as a player. But, so to have to...
Well, you played college, right?
Yeah. So very little. I went to a sinus. I had some bad injuries, which is I just went and got knee injections yesterday. College is where I kind of fell off for me, and I was sad because I was working so hard to get to play college ball, and had a really bad injury my junior year in high school where I transferred to a school to play baseball because, like I said, the Catholic school was about to close. The graduating class in front of me had 13 people. Yeah. And that wasn't even 13 males. That was just 13 people.
Wow.
We literally had to call everybody down to the school. The athletic director called every male down to the school to beg them to play baseball. Because we had days where we had 8 players, and you can't start a game with 8, but you can end a game with 8. So I had a kid that was like, well, I can't stay for the whole game. I'm like, I don't care. Just get there, get in there. We'll do 2 outfielders after you leave. We were doing that kind of stuff.
Don't you borrow a player from the other team?
So, right? Yeah. You'd almost have and so it was so sad because I was so into baseball. It was just my life was baseball, and I was getting some looks for junior Olympic teams and some other opportunities. And I was like, well, if I can't play school ball, I'm not going to be in a position to be ready for the tryouts in the summer. And so then I went to this private school that still did PIAA, but we had kids from our shortstop was from Germany. Our pitcher was from Taiwan.
Wow.
Hajime. So it was really cool because you got a lot of diverse people.
Yeah.
So I switched schools to go play in October. And then I was in this math class, and this kid, James Levine, I'll never forget him. He didn't mean it, but he just saw me in the classroom, walk by. We lived in the dorms together. He smacked the back of my head, and I started chasing him. And then I tried to leap down the stairs and catch him, and I broke my ankle and gave myself a concussion. And it was literally the first week of practice, or pitchers and catchers reporting. So I was in a cast the whole year. It was a big, I'm joking about it. It was a big pivotal moment for me because it was so sad that I couldn't play, and I was so depressed. And and then I got back senior year, but by then we had this stud freshman that came in, just a stud. And so I was just the bullpen catcher for my senior year. And it was I got to play. The only thing I got cool to do that year is they let me start the game we got to play at the minor league team. It used to be the Red Barons, used to be the Phillies third, AAA affiliate, but now it's the Yankees AAA. But you got to play in the stadium there, which was all the teams did their first game there, which was kind of cool.
Nice.
But yeah, so it was yeah. So that part for me was sad. So I would say I lost baseball through college. Like I kind of tried to put it away and do it, and that's when I kind of got very academic and stuff like that, which worked out. And then when I got the job at O&J, the coach, they just started the 7th grade team. I don't think they had one for a while, so I stepped into that. And then that was cool because then I started umpiring. I started coaching like Norchester Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
And then I found an adult league, and I played adult league baseball for like 8 or 9 years, which
Wow.
was fun. That was so great.
You were also my coach for Babe Ruth, I think.
That's right.
So they would split up to 2 Babe Ruth teams, and Babe Ruth was basically the league for people who weren't good enough to make junior legion. It was like, the B players.
I liked coaching that too because like one, nobody in the system knew me. I wasn't from the area, and the area is very like we know these people. They grew up here, they played here, and now they coach here, kind of thing. And I didn't have any kids yet or anything, so that was the other way that I think people got in the system is if their kid was good and they were like they would be their coach. And I was just this like 24-year-old guy, didn't have a kid, but like was super invested in coaching. I liked that I was coaching Babe Ruth because a lot of times if I like when we did these tryouts, if I had to break these kids' hearts, it was cool to know that I was going to be able to work with them and then, help them get ready so that by the time they got to 8th or 9th grade, so much happens in those years. You never know, what you're going to be like in a few years. I mean, people always talk about the Michael Jordan story, about him getting cut from his like JV team or whatever. But yeah, you never know. So I always liked doing that because it was just fun. It was just more energy. You're not like, I don't know. It just had like a Bad News Bears style to it. It's just a lot of fun. So
It was.
But yeah, no. So I coached you in 7th grade. Had a little Babe Ruth. How was I as a coach?
Pretty great.
Pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, I was a terrible player, but like I definitely peaked in a probably little league. So I was already on my downward trend when you got me.
I remember the age because like Mike Taylor, right? Chase Line. I mean, I just remember that being a lot of fun. Like, it was a lot of fun and like just a good group of kids. So it's nice to see you guys now. It's so cool because like, so now that's 2008. Flash forward to what, last summer?
Yeah.
And then you show up in my comedy class at Soul Joel's.
I know.
That was awesome. How did you find out about it? What was that like? I don't know if I ever asked you about that.
So I think Mike's parents actually came to one of your shows and you recognized them somehow.
That's right.
Yeah. And so Mike was telling us all about, he couldn't believe he recognized it's been over 10 years.
Yeah.
And then Chase was telling me that you are teaching the class there at Soul Joel's. And I had, didn't really know anything about it, never been to Soul Joel's.
Yeah.
Started looking it up and then just showed up one day and
said, here I am. Let's do this.
Now I've been coming back every week.
Dude, yeah. that was my favorite thing. Because, like, I've run 11 of these classes now as of last Wednesday. And, with each class, it's interesting. Because it's, again, some people, it's just a bucket list thing or it's whatever. But it's interesting to see the pockets of people that stick with it after that, like, this wasn't just a one and done, I said I did it thing. Or at least you're exploring it for whatever, hobby, whatever. It's a creative outlet. Like, so many things it could be for people. I've heard that my other favorite phrase is jobby, where it's like a hobby / maybe you get some paid gigs on top of it as like a side gig, But it's fun to watch those people, In your class, was there anybody else that's still doing it?
I mean, Dan's doing shows.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't, he doesn't get out to the mics a lot. His job keeps him late.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So
from the class, yeah. I mean,
and Kelly is still keeping her toe in the water.
Yep.
Which is cool. Yeah, I would say 2 to 3. So I would say, I would say 25% of every class. I feel like, stick with it to some degree. Some people are trying to like run their own mics and produce stuff, and that's great because that's how I started. So, and then you traveled a little bit and did some mics, right?
Yeah.
Was it like you and your dog? Like it was like some kind of like Steinbeck novel. I only read one Steinbeck, but it was like Travel with Charlie, and he just kind of got in the road and went around with his dog. And
I don't have kids. I just have a border collie, and she comes with me everywhere. So we went down to Asheville, North Carolina. That's where my dad lives.
Oh, cool.
And we did a mic there.
They just had a comedy festival like a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I think Raph was telling me he did that festival one time. Anyways, great crowd, like such a fun mic. I got up like last, but it felt like the energy like stayed throughout the night, so that was cool.
That's good.
And then I also went down to Comedy Key West. and that's Tom Dustin's club. So Joe List actually made a documentary called Portrait of a Comedian.
Okay.
And it's featuring Tom Dustin. He owns this club in
Oh,
Key
wow.
West because the two of them were Boston comics. And then I don't really know the whole story. I didn't.
No, but that's cool. But that's cool. I'm going to check it out. That's worth it. Well, you've given us the coming attractions. So, and what was the vibe?
Oh, it was so much fun. I mean, because it's a party town, like, everybody's drinking there in
Yeah.
the crowd already.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, honestly. And he was incredible. Like, I watched some of his stand-up from the documentary and thought he was so much better in person. I feel that with every time I go see live comedy.
I think that's the case because there's just, there's like a fun inside joke energy. Like when you're in the room, things happen that, if you're a good comic, experienced comic like he is, you can make moments feel like they're like unique and organic to this audience, and that's the part that makes it really fun. That's what, like, think about like your Matt Rifes of the world, Jess Kearsons, even though they have material and they do that, like we're seeing the clips of these moments where they've created fun. I don't post a ton of clips. Like I'm still kind of, once I think I put out my first sort of hour, then I'll like cut it up and that'll be like the first go of some of these. I've put stuff up a lot of times, they say comics don't put up like their stuff. They just put up like the crowd work because they don't want to give away their jokes or whatever for free. I do, because I put up a clip today that I thought was fun from one of the Joe Gatto shows, which was asking a woman. I was going to tell a story about my wife being a teacher, and I was stopped to like engage the audience for a minute and see if there were any teachers there to see how, if there were certain tags. So basically, it was me deciding if there was enough teachers in there, which tags I would tell that were more inside baseball. And when the one woman just said, I was like, what do you teach? She just said education. And I was just like, oh, that's great. Because it was just like, okay. So it was just this fun moment when and I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've realized that when I would talk to the audience, or I did have a moment where somebody said something and I interacted with them, I found early on my biggest laughs came from like something happening in the moment with someone in the crowd. And it's so frightening because you can't like plan that, but I just noticed that. So I was like, oh, I can't shy away from that. So like engaging with the crowd at some level to find out how they feel about a premise about where I'm going to go is fun, and so it's like you can create these really cool inside baseball moments. So I guess it makes sense that, see people live. It's, it's so much better.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I love like crowd work comedy, like creating a moment live and there.
It's fun. You're making a group of strangers friends. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, so you took the class. How was I as now a baseball coach? How was I as a comedy teacher? I'm just
honestly, yes, fantastic. Like still think about the advice you gave me all the time. Like right before we went up that day, I remember being like extremely, extremely nervous that day and like kind of botched my set in the practice run and it wasn't good. And you told me like, what makes you special is your confidence. And, when you look down and you get sheepish and like, I noticed that still like, 7 months later, like still after a set watching it back, like I just got to deliver that,
Yeah, you got the very like Jesselneck's a good example of sitting in uncomfortability with confidence. Like, and I'm sure he, it would be interesting to look like what his first year sets would have look like, and had he not, it's because we only see people's polished. It's like anything with social media, you only see the part people let you see. And comedy specials. That's the other thing. Comedy specials are like often 3 or 4 shows they taped and cut together. So you're always seeing the best version. That's why I always had a hard time just posting clips of myself. Because like, especially now, like I have a reputation uphold or whatever, and I don't want to, I don't want to put something out there that I think is funny, but it's not. Or if I don't hear a certain level of laughter, then I'm like, oh, or if I hear a level of laughter and I feel like the joke didn't deserve that level. Like there's so many things that go in my head when I listen back to a set, and I'm like trying to find this one thing that I might feel comfortable clipping because I want people to get that. I want people to know I'm a stand-up and put that out there to a certain degree. But I'm doing a social media class this weekend with Alex Perlman.
Right.
And that's like something I learned when I work for this comedy school. One of my first jobs was working for this comedy school in New York that I still work for. And the moment I joined them, they were rebranding and they had a consultant. So I was sitting in on these meetings with the social media consultant that was giving them advice that was totally advice that worked for everybody.
Yeah.
So like I really sucked up that knowledge and then started applying that to my own account. And then I started, seeing some growth, and I'm nowhere near like Alex Perlman, 4 million, but I did see some success when I made certain tweaks and stuff, and that I was like, oh, this is cool. So, now it's like trying to, put that together. So I'm looking forward to Saturday, because I'm also looking forward to hearing Alex Perlman. Do you follow him at all?
Yeah.
Pearlmania?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's so spot on. His like rants are just like, there's not a syllable off. Like he's just, and he was always a stand-up before he was. So he did stand-up comedy well before. He was like, I've heard he had some of the funniest funniest sets.
Really?
Back, pre-pandemic and all that. He's probably been doing comedy for over 10 years. So it's always interesting to see like when a stand-up then switches out. So I don't know, but you've been going on mics?
Been going to mics. Definitely like need to get out to more mics. I've been going to the same mics a lot, and it's made me too comfortable there. And then I go to other mics and I'm too uncomfortable. It's like just a different world. You're like, oh no. Because especially when I walk up and I say my name is Young Patrick, people are already expecting me to be funny. And it's like, I'm just trying stuff out tonight.
But no, that's good. I mean, I think it's honest, It's like the fact that you're grinding away like that is cool. Like there is it takes guts to do that. Because I remember my first mic when I wasn't Joel's, because I started it was the pandemic, so it was like Joel's was literally the only spot in town, and then eventually as guidelines shifted, there was a mic in Phoenixville on Mondays, and then Bar 13 had this plexiglass in front of the stage like you were some zoo animal to be COVID compliant. So there were 3, but that place was scary to me because it was like a black box. It looked like a sex dungeon in there.
Yeah.
Like it just was. Have you ever been?
I still haven't, no.
Oh, it's wild. I'm like, and I drove in my Prius listening to country music.
They don't still have the plexiglass.
No, they took that down. They probably should keep it up. But like, and I got there, I drove there in my Prius listening to country music, and I looked at the building and I heard the music inside. I was like, oh, I hope nobody saw me get out of the Prius. I don't think I'd be welcome here. And it was cool. It was fine. Actually, I like it there because they have a lot of people that do a lot of shock value stuff. I think it might be a good mic for you. So if you're willing to branch out, if you get there, I think the list goes out somewhere around 8 or 8:30.
Okay.
And it starts at 9.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's like a little
Nice,
later. But a guy named Fenris runs it. And he's an interesting guy, fun guy. He plays the ukulele.
Oh, nice.
And and he does a lot of fun shows there, not just comedy shows, but like burlesque shows and like Jello wrestling and all sorts of weird themed shows. I did a couple of the burlesque shows, not as a burlesque dancer, but he would have comedy in between the acts.
Oh, wow.
I had a really good set one time there during the burlesque show.
I bet that's a fun crowd.
Yeah, so it was really fun, and I could do some of my like more off-center edgy stuff, and that was right up their alley. And so it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So he does like so it'd be good because he has a lot of opportunities. So you might, might be another person to see it. Because that's the other thing going to mics. You network, then people all of a sudden start offering you spots or have a showcase or have something. And, that's for me how you can kind of get off the ground a little bit, or at least get some opportunities like a bar show and, whatever. It's like, get a show opportunity is like that. So it's cool when people like Fenris kind of provide that and have a lot of fun different shows. So there's a spot for everybody. So
cool. Yeah, I got to meet him.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You
Plus,
should get
it's another state can add to the list.
That's right. Yeah, I'm on my way. I got a couple more. So I just hit Alaska. My wife has a keychain with all these charms, and we keep adding charms. So I just did Alaska. Next week I'm going to be in Wisconsin and Minnesota. So that'll be 2 new ones. Sweet. And then I just got dates for the fall with board teachers. I'm going to be in Texas.
Wow. For
a week. I've never been to Texas. I've been to Texas's airport. I've never been to Texas. So I'm going to be in like Abilene, Corpus Christi, Austin, and Beaumont, I think is the name. So, so I'm excited to go there. I wish we were going to be in Austin for longer than just one day. Yeah. It's just like I would love to go to the mothership and just see a show even, or be there on a Monday when I'm sure you can't get Kill Tony tickets. It's probably sold out for like 900 months. But I would go, even though that kind of style, I would put my name in the bucket. I would give it a go. I'd do a minute,
I've always wondered, they got to have so many people sign up for that.
It's got to be insane.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, you know.
Mhm.
And as a clean comic, I would love to go on there because I think I would like, I think I have enough weird things that I could say in a minute to them that would intrigue them, and then it would have a fun conversation after.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be cool. So I wouldn't be opposed to doing it. So maybe this summer I've been doing a lot of this cheer dad stuff now too. So maybe
Yeah.
I'll travel around and I got to start going to Mike's and bombing with cheer dad stuff, or just like get it out. Just
Yeah.
do some new stuff and get ready because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of cheer comedy shows coming in my future, and I want to be ready.
Yeah.
I want to be ready because I make a lot of reels and stuff, and so a lot of that I think could be turned into stand up. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
when you're writing, what's like when the jokes you're telling, where are they coming from? Like what's your muse?
Just kind of like in the moment, like something weird like clicks for me, or sometimes I'll be up like late at night and just kind of thinking. A lot of times it'll be from watching my sets, and that'll like give me like, oh, I can see myself saying this after that.
Yeah.
That's how I come up
Are
with
you
that.
making a lot of times? I think are you making commentary on things that are happening in the world? Or are you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a lot of like current events or news
Yeah.
or just totally random stuff.
Which I think is a good practice in like joke writing, stuff like that. Like you think about like what late night writers are doing, where they got to kick out jokes for a monologue Monday through Friday based on the news from the night before. So it's like a good exercise in that. And then sometimes some of the stuff, the concept of being evergreen, right? Like where it's like I could, even though this just happened, I could tell this joke forever and ever, kind of. Because sometimes with current events, you run the risk of like it's got a short shelf life,
Exactly, yeah.
But it's still a good exercise in joke writing to practice it, But I think the hardest thing they say is it takes so long for you to develop your voice or who you are on stage. Do you feel like you have a clear idea of who you are on stage?
No, not particularly. I
No.
want to be able to joke more about like my personal life, and I just, it's not all funny, and I can't,
Yeah, well, hey,
make
it's tragedy plus time. Sometimes the time has to have, and two, you got to figure out, well, what, you have the specific event that like, oh, this happened to me, and then this is funny, but the thing that's the Venn diagram of it. I've heard of it described, and like Mike Birbiglia uses this analogy where it's like there's this Venn diagram of like the circle of what I think is funny and the circle of what the audience thinks is funny, and we got to find that overlap. And then sometimes it's like, oh, this funny thing happened to me, but you got to ask yourself like, well, what about it is embarrassing? Because even though that scenario is unique to you, there's something behind it that's relatable, whether it's embarrassment in public or, having a run-in with the cops or getting arrested or, anything that could happen, weird family interaction. You just have to kind of go back and say, oh, well, even though this is unique to me, what's funny about it to other people, or what might other people relate to? And that once I started to see that, I was like, oh, I think this is really funny. But then I wasn't getting the reaction I wanted, and I realized, oh, I have to do the setup different, or I have to frame it so that they understand it better, because in my head I know the event so well because it's my experience. But how do I, in 15 seconds, bring them into 20 years of my life? That's the hard part. Is like, because I had a guy last night that was just listening to the comedy last night. And he's like, I'm funny around my friends, but like getting up there, I'm like, yeah, because they know me. I'm like, yeah, and you gotta make these people know you.
Yeah.
And that's why what you wear, how you carry yourself, your facial expressions, like all of that can work for you. But I think sometimes if we don't think about it, or if we're gazing down.
Oh yeah, I felt it work against me. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're also very likable, so I think that you have that going for you too.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's like, and that's, I think the hardest part is how people see us, because I know how I see myself, but I don't know how other people see me, and sometimes it's different.
I remember my first set in front of you guys in the class in front of Kunal.
Oh yeah.
He told me because I kept looking down the whole time. I didn't look up, and I wore a hat, and he told me, he was like, "Well, you have a nice face." And I wanted to be like, well, what are you saying about the other 95% of me? But,
yeah, so that's what you're right. I mean, and Kunal is great because he didn't pull any punches too, which is how it should be. I try to,
right.
and I think it's just it's important to like people to see. That's why hats are kind of like a weird thing, because then you
Mhm.
can't see your facial features. You can't. It's like you're hiding something. But yeah, no, it's so you're gonna keep grinding out with the mics. You're gonna keep
Yeah, gonna keep grinding out with the mics, keep posting on social media.
yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. So you had something that hit big on social media.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
let's talk about that. So what was it?
It was a pretty dark joke.
Oh, so it was a stand up clip.
Yeah, it was a stand up clip
Oh,
from the Rivet.
all right.
And I won't retell the joke here. I'm sure your
You
audience.
could go check out Young Patrick Comedy
Yep.
on social media.
Young Patrick does comedy on Instagram.
All right.
Got 500,000 views. I posted it on like Tuesday. You know, not really expecting much. My average views on a reel is like 1,000.
Yeah.
So then this one, it kept, people were sharing it like crazy is what I was
Well,
noticing.
that's what happens when the shares happen. Then you're like,
Mhm.
oh, we're in business.
Yeah, so it had like 60,000 shares, and I was seeing like random people putting it up on their story, and it was weird. It was a weird experience. Like, oh, this is my face in front of like 500,000 people.
Right.
Like,
And what was the? Can you tell me the topic?
it was about the war in Iran.
Oh, all right. Yes. Well, hey, I mean so. Listen, they say there's no such such bad press. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So you got a 500. That's a lot of. So did you see a follower jump at all?
Yeah, I got about 250 more followers.
Okay,
from
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a lot. I mean, because a lot, you'll see some people that are like sitting at 800 or 1,000. I know for me, like that was like sort of like my second year goal. Like my first year goal was 100 open mics in a year, and again that was during COVID, so there were only those 3 mics.
Yeah.
So and then things opened up over time. I didn't know they would, but even if there are only those 3, I knew. Well, let's say I did it for 50 weeks, it's 150. That's still a big margin of. I don't have to go to all 3 every week. As long as I go to 2 a week, I was on pace. But yeah. So then my second year goal became like besides like hosting, I wanted to start hosting some stuff like open mics or
Right.
whatever. And then social media, I just knew people were posting and stuff like that. So I joined Instagram. I didn't join TikTok right away. I just had Instagram, and then it connected to Facebook. But then I eventually did TikTok, and now I'm starting to do YouTube as well. Except YouTube, I always forget. It's so hard to kind of keep up with it all. That's why I know why, like, when I'm at a level now where my Instagram is my most curated, and I'm growing still pretty steadily. I'm like almost at 61,000 there, and I'm like trying to get to 100,000. That's like my goal for myself. It's like 100,000, and
Get there.
yeah, it'll
Yeah.
get there. The cheer dad stuff. Well, to your point, like I didn't realize. I think the first thing that hit big for me was a clip I did with board teachers. I had a joke hit 1 million views, and then I had a podcast clip hit 10 million views,
Wow.
over 1 million likes, and that was wild. That was so I did a podcast with the teacher tour called Teachers Off Duty, and all I was doing was, and it was cool because again, not to everybody, I had a different angle. I was like a teacher at the time, and I had to,
Yeah.
so like telling dark jokes, even if I wanted to, I couldn't really do that because if somebody was in the audience, I felt like being a teacher, knowing where my bread was being buttered at the time,
Mhm.
I didn't have that luxury. So I was happy that the thing that went viral first for me was something I was proud of. It was a project I did with kids where I had them like that. We would pick a country that went with the culture unit, and they had to plan a vacation. And I gave them a budget, and the joke was that they were planning my vacations for me. So I was having them become my travel agents and find all the places and all the prices, and then I would just go on these vacations in the summer with my wife. Which, some of it was true. Like we would go to Mexico, and now I had all this extra information on the things we could do there.
Yeah.
And it just resonated with people so much, and it wasn't necessarily stand up per se, but it was funny. And then having stand up clips like that go, and then I have one with my daughter, which I have pinned to my Instagram, which is like almost at 4 million views of her saying the F word, but the teacher saying she said it appropriately.
Right. Yeah.
So like that kind of, so it's like fun, to see some of those. And I've had memes, and I've started doing memes for a little while,
Mhm.
and some of those would resonate with people, and they would share. And I want to become a meme account, so then I kind of stopped doing those. It's like interesting to like see the things because it's like a free lottery ticket,
Yeah.
And then the cheer dad stuff. I was just sitting in like Charlotte with my daughter, and I couldn't be with her, and she wasn't performing yet. So I was just sitting there. And every time I made a cheer dad one, like instantly. People grab to it. Like TikTok's the hardest for me. TikTok, I cannot figure out what it wants.
Yeah.
I would get stuck at like 300 views almost every video, no matter what I did. Even the one that would hit 1 million on the other platforms, 300 views. I'm just like, I just won't push it out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure like, well, what's like I'm being gate kept, but like nobody's giving me any feedback as to why, you know? So it's like that. It's so tricky, and it is like, you know, like there is. So I'm interested to hear what Alex Perlman has to say about stuff like that when we do that. I wouldn't have done the social media workshop if he wasn't attached to it, because I feel like I'm organizing and using all of my teacher knowledge to organize the class. Yeah. And then bringing him in.
Do you know what his biggest platform is?
I think it's 3 million on Instagram. Yeah, that's what I think it is. Yeah, because he's 4 million total.
Okay.
I'm gonna double check here. Oh, okay, so it's 1.3 million on Instagram. So then TikTok's the one where he must be at like 3 mil, which is 3.6 mil. So he's actually 5 mil total. Wow. So he's going up. I mean, his stuff doesn't miss. Like even his, like I'm looking at his TikTok. It was like 57,000, 257,000, 483,000, 581,000.
That's insane.
274,000, 508,000. You know, so it's just like,
yeah.
But at the same time, he's got 3.6 million people. So he's not getting all of them to see it. Mm-hmm. So interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's like somebody's at the gate deciding who's getting through, like a bouncer at a club. You know what I mean? I've heard some different pieces too. Like basically it'll float it out to like 3 people. Mm-hmm. And based on how those 3 people engage with it, I guess dictates sort of how it goes through. Yeah, my buddy studies it, AI models and social media, and that was part of his doctorate work. It's fascinating. Even how long you linger before you swipe is a factor that gets played into how popular a video could become. You know, it's interesting. It's wild. So are you on all the platforms?
Just Instagram. I made a TikTok. I posted like 2 or 3 times. They didn't really. So and I made the Facebook page too, but like haven't checked it once, I don't think. So I just like hit post to Facebook as well. Instagram,
yeah. So it's going. Well, that's smart. That's good. I think the consistency, it rewards consistency too. That's the other piece. Like, you know, I think that. So I got to a level where actually it's funny enough, because even though TikTok's not my biggest follower account, it's the only one where I make like any kind of money on that I actually see. Yeah. Like the Instagram and Meta ones, like Facebook, I just can't figure out either. That's another one. Like, even though it's tied to like the umbrella of Meta, but like TikTok the last 3 or 4 months, you know, nothing to write home about, but like, I'm getting money in my PayPal account that I didn't see coming.
Yeah, that's nice.
Like take my family out for dinner for the night or something. You know, it's like definitely is not emblematic of how much time I'm spending on it. But it is fun. Yeah, it's a living resume, right? I was as I was prepping for the social media thing, something I thought was interesting was, you know, when you have all these tools, like you go to Instagram and you have those 4 tools. You have post, story, reel, and live. Yeah. And so they each sort of have a purpose. And the one that I don't use that I need to start doing more is live. Yeah. So it's like, you know, basically the way that it was like stories is your day-to-day, post is your resume, and reel is how people find you. And live is how you do live hangouts and engage with your followers so that they get like a little behind the scenes look. And so that's sort of like, you know, stories, you know, if you're out and about in your day and you see something funny, you post it so the people who are following you, you know, want to see what you're doing at any given moment. That's why stories exist. And post, like when you look at your grid, a good thing I learned from that branding thing I was on, it should be like a carousel effect of different styles of things. So if you have podcast clips, stand-up clips, photo carousels, gratitude posts, it should be 8-2. It should be an 8-2 ratio, 8 pieces of content to every 2 promotions. Okay. And you'll like see some people where it's just posters of them, just like posters. Nobody's going to engage with that. That's not content. So it's got to be like skits or, you know, little rants face to face. It's the easiest stuff is the face to camera rant or the B-roll footage. Like with like captions running over it. Like I did one, I was on an airplane and I just recorded myself kind of like staring off into the distance, and it was just like cheer dad thoughts, and then it's just me running through how much everything's about to cost on this trip.
Yeah.
And you know, and then you set it to a little bit of music and
Mm-hmm.
off it grind. Like those are the two easiest, and then just photos of gratitude posts for a show you were at, and then that way, like when you look through somebody's grid, like if I were to show you my grid here, you want to be able to see the different styles of
Right.
content, and you want to see my face. You notice how you see my face in a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then what I chose to pin, I have a reel with captions about who I am. So
Yeah.
if people are just coming to my page, they get a little bit about my story for that first post. The second one is my biggest stand-up clip so that I can establish myself as a stand-up.
Right.
And then the third one is me in front of big crowds so that people know that can trust me. So it's like that way, if anybody looks me up, they're like, oh, they see my count, they see my follower count, then they see those three things, and then they see my regularity of posts. Then that's like what you're trying to do in terms of create a resume for yourself. And because it's like, it's how people are going to find you. That's how people are going to see you. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to kind of curate, and it took a while to get to a level. And then and now with the cheer stuff, it's like trying to find fun new things to do.
Yeah.
Like I recently got into commentary. Like they would send me a video of them cheering, and I would just pretend like I was being knowledgeable. I'm like, oh, that's a flipsy doodle with a spring into a sprinkle fall, and just like saying all nonsense. And a cheerleader group took my audio and played my audio. It was the first time somebody's used your audio.
Oh, that's
and I'm like, what audio? And it was them doing a thing. So they like showed their routine with me giving the commentary like I did for the other video. And I was like, oh, that's so flattering or so cute that they were using that, or they found it funny. So it's, you got to find your audience. So you just keep plugging away. And who knew I was going to find my audience being a cheer dad, So so you never know. And this is like 5 years in of me posting consistently because I was doing teacher stuff, but it's oversaturated, But that's why it's like, I don't know. You got to find what it is that people connect with. So, you got to look back at your viral one and be like, again, and sometimes it's, is it I don't know. Were there a lot of comments?
Oh yeah. They were like, I had a lot of hidden comments.
Yes. Which if you don't know, just means that, Instagram's doing you a solid being like, we know this is going to be soul crushing, so we're going to hide this from your purview.
Yeah, no, I found a dark corner of the internet with that one. It was...
Well, dude, it's so, it is. And it's like, how did you process some of those ones? Were you okay? Like, did it?
Yeah, no, I thought it was funny. I mean, I read all of them.
He's like, I read all of them. Yeah, I would have too. Totally.
Yeah.
I will say, because that's the hardest part. It's so easy to be mean. And even me, who I'm like, oh, I have such a hard time not, when I see a rage bait account, there was one today where it was just like, oh, my friend showed me this trick. And like they got me to watch the whole 45 seconds and they just threw like an egg in like way too much oil and fried the hell out of it and then put it on a plate and then doused it in ketchup and then tried to cut it up and pretend like they were about to take a bite of it into the camera. And I just could not help myself. And I posted, I was like,
got baited.
I wish only the bad things for you. I wish only bad things for you. It's so bad, so mean. But like, and I'll see the Cousin Angelo from the guys, the Costco guys, the Boom guys.
Yeah.
So Cousin Angelo was like this side character that came in, and he'll post something. I'll just be like, dude, who are you? What are you doing? And I'm just so mad. And I'm like, and then there's this one guy that's the raw milk kid.
Yeah.
You know, the raw milk kid? He just talks about eating meat and protein and God and never be around girl. And he looks like he's 10 years old. And
like
he's
a mini
just
Liver King?
Yeah, just so crazy. And I'm just like, and there's this one count now that trolls him and stitches all his videos. So I like them because they're doing what I wish I could do. But yeah, it's so hard. It's even the nicest people. Like you could get baited so hard into that. And I'm just like, I had a thing where I commented on, because that's the other thing. You want to comment on other accounts because then it gets visibility out there. You're also not just doing your stuff.
Yeah.
You're commenting on other stuff, and that's part of the game. So I have a baseball account. There's this guy, Jeff Savicki, I think his name is. And like they'll show it'll be like a video of a kid throwing a pitch.
Oh, and then he does a reaction.
And he does a reaction. He's like, ball. And it
Yeah,
like
yeah.
always goes down his face, just like ball. And there was one video of a kid doing a drill where I guess he was like an outfielder, like he was running in the opposite direction and then had to switch directions to throw. And they had one of those like the bar, like the, like your bench pressing barbell, but it was connected to something on the turf. And they could like throw it like they were practicing the arm motion.
Okay.
But it really wasn't the arm motion you'd be throwing in.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're getting fast twitch fiber. I'm sure there's something, but I think his reaction was kind of like, what are we doing? Like, this is a little extra, just a coach getting paid money, trying to justify why he's getting money instead of just doing the stuff that's been working for years. And so he made a comment, and then this guy, his name was like Curly Stoner or something, and his like bio was like, I'm stoned and I'm a dad. And
I think I saw you post.
And I'm just like, this guy. So like, I just was like, dude, I'm like, what are you talking about? He was digging on Jeff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing, man? What are you talking about? You know what he means. Just stop, take another rip off your bong, Cheech. I mean, you named yourself Stoner, okay?
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he's like, why don't you eat more donuts? And I'm like, really? I'm like, dude, I taught middle school for 21 years, man. Like, you're gonna have to come back with something better than that, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then his response to that was something like, what'd he say? He'd be like, oh yeah, I'll bet with you looking like that in middle school, they had a field day with you. I'm like, I'm rooting for you, buddy. That's what I wrote back. I was like, I'm rooting for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I was like, so it's just, I also love that part of it because it's no different than like road rage.
Yeah.
Getting cut off on the interstate versus like trolling comments in a section. And yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Oh yeah.
I will say the cheer content, I've been pleasantly surprised with all the comments and all the videos. No one's ever negative.
That's nice.
I was so nice. And I'm like, oh my God, like even though this isn't the audience I would have thought for myself when I first started, I was like, oh my God, it's like so nice. And I get to be a father and I get to talk about my daughter. I get to do all the things I've wanted to do. And I'm super welcomed into this. Like, dude, if I go to a cheer competition with my daughter, I will inevitably have parents and kids coming up asking to take photos with me. Like, it's so crazy to me. It's so recent. It's only been since December. But so next weekend I'm flying down to Florida to go to their major thing. So it's going to be kind of cool to.
Oh, yeah. We're in Florida.
Orlando, down to Disney.
Nice.
They do it at the ESPN Wide World of Sports.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like the Super Bowl of cheerleading. So and I couldn't get a media pass because I tried. I went to some of the organizations were just so happy to have. But they said they don't do media passes for any content creators, but I'm welcome to kind of hang out and film content. And there's enough, like, if I want to go into the room where they're actually cheering, I'll have to pay like $50 a day. But I can write that off as a business expense and whatever. Yeah, and I'll probably do it one of the 2 days where I'll actually go into the room. The rest, there's plenty of people in the hallway, so I'll wait for someone to come up for a photo, and then I'll like interview them. Yeah, and kind of use that and just kind of do that and stay connected because then either people who see me are going to be more connected to me or new people are going to add, and then especially them. It's fun. They're all sharing their stuff in the group chats and so it's cool to feel like I found an audience now, which is fun, but. Dude, I don't envy the days of where you're at, just trying to still figure out what's going to hit. But I think it's fun and creative. If you're having fun with it, great. If you're not having fun, don't,
Yeah.
That's what I would tell people for sure. Like, because if you're not having fun, I said that last week. And even though now it's like this is my bread and butter, I still want it to be fun. I don't want to get to a position where I'm not like enjoying myself or. Yeah, that's what happened with teaching. I don't want that. I was talking about that on the last episode. Was like that's why we need the AI robots to come in and like give teachers like some more days off, and like you could have the robot be the sub. Like that'd be great because they could be like record it, and then if they're being really bad, they could like video call you in to yell at them while you're wherever you're at. Because like a lot of the times, if I'm off for that day, I totally could have like video chatted in for 5 minutes to set the lesson up or answer any questions or like if education really wanted to, it could get into the future and still preserve the basic tenets of it, and then I'd probably still be teaching right now, so it's wild. So what do you got coming up? You have anything you want to plug or some mics that you usually go to that people could catch you at?
There's a show April 30th in Phoenixville by Mike Lenz. I actually forget the name of the place it's at.
Okay. But it'll be on your social
It'll be on my
media?
Instagram. Follow me, Young Patrick Does Comedy.
It's saying it's in Phoenix. Is it Phoenix, what you said? Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a new social club. He wants to do like a monthly
Oh, nice.
mic. So there's going to be an open mic afterwards if anybody wants to sign up. So
That's cool. All right, great. All right. And then you go to Rivet on Mondays and Joel's on Tuesdays?
yep. Occasionally I'll go into the city. But I do want to hear about this motorcycle.
Oh, I completely forgot. Yeah, because that's right. Before you got here, because you're riding a motorcycle right now. I actually did. I did have a motorcycle. I was cool for about 9 weeks in a summer. I think I was first teaching. Might have been around the time I was coaching you. My mom had her hip replaced, and I was gonna come home for the summer and help her while she was in recovery. And so I went back to Scranton, and my buddies were like big into motorcycles and touring motorcycles and riding the countryside and all that kind of stuff, not like Hell's Angels. And so there was like a Honda Shadow that was in like the paper shop
I don't even know
for
what
sale.
that is.
The paper shop? It's like the Honda
Shop or Honda Shadow.
So paper shop was this little like thing where people could sell stuff in, and you would go in any like Turkey Hill or Wawa.
Yeah.
And you grab it for free, but people paid to put their ads in it because people would look at it for different stuff. And so there was a good bike, and my buddy said, hey, why don't we go take a look at it? And it was like relatively cheap, and he said it was in good shape. And so we bought it, and he drove it home from the place. And then I went and got my permit, took the test, and then he started kind of teaching me in like a parking lot. Yeah. And then he made me drive home from the parking lot the first day through the back roads of the town. But I kept forgetting to like downshift. And so if I would stop, I was trying to restart, but I was in like third gear. And I was just like, couldn't figure it out. Like I'm stalling out in the front of a police station. I don't even have a real license. Like it was so bad. And then I caught a little bit of it, and then I would use it because I would often stay at my buddy's house, and it was like 2 towns over. So I was in a play that summer. I was doing Beauty and the Beast for a local dinner theater while I was in town. That I did a lot of acting for that guy. I took some acting classes with him when I was a kid, and he ran a dinner theater in the town I used to live in. So I was going between where my mom lived, where my buddy lived, and there. And so it was like, oh, I'll just do driving around all summer. It'll be cheap on gas. I'll drive around, be cool. And I rode it for a while. And I went on a couple like long trips with them, like just around like 2-3 hour trips. And I'll never forget, there were just a couple times where it got scary. Like I was doing this one turn and I took the turn too wide, and like almost I was between either hitting the car in that lane or going off into the woods. And then there was one time where did this whole ride, survived it, was killing it. We're coming into the home stretch, getting off the highway onto the back roads to where he lived. And as I got down into the thing, I ended up sliding out into the front of like a curb in front of this restaurant in this small town. And I like immediately jumped up because then I saw a cop car sliding by, and I'm like, oh great, I don't have my license. I'm going to be, and then all of a sudden I got the bike up. I was like, I don't think he saw me. I was able to pop right up, and then and then the window goes down. I'm like, oh damn. And it was my best friend from like 4th grade. It was like now a cop. And he totally just gave me shit about it, and then like didn't do anything. So I was so scared. But I was like, man, it occurred to me in those 2 moments, the one dropping the bike there and the one hard turn coming out of the woods there, that I was like, man, this thing is no joke. Like this is like, it's one thing to be on 4 wheels and be in a car and have these moments, but like there's just too much at risk, and there was just too much. Like my uncle, who was a big bike guy, he definitely knew I was not a bike guy. He's like, what do you got a bike for? Like he was trying to discourage me from it, and he'd tell me stories about friends of his that like got paralyzed, and like tell me all these horror stories. But yeah, I did it for about 2.5 months, and I just never got comfortable. I was never. I'd have glimpses every ride of where I'm like, okay, nothing's going wrong. I'm cruising. I got to play practice, or I got to my buddy's house, or being like downhill on a stop sign and then having to like clutch and shift into the turn, like those little moments. And I just never gave and then, if you look at something, you're going to go into it. So if you look at that tree, you're going to go to that tree. And I just never took to it. I just can't. How long you been riding a bike?
Only like 2 years now. I learned on my dad's. He's got a Sportster and a Heritage, and then
So you're like a crotch rocket, like, or is it more of a?
no, it's a Harley.
Oh, it's a Harley. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean cruiser,
Cruiser. I
small
like that.
gas tank. So yeah, I don't ride like crazy fast or anything.
Yeah.
I just like cruising around the back roads. I never get on the highway around here. Like 422 is a nightmare.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I said, I just took Valley Forge here from Collegeville.
That's
so.
true. That's a good little run.
Yeah.
That's
so.
nice. All right. Well, so it's a beautiful day for it too. So I was like, the weather's turned and so it's kind of getting nice out. So I'm super excited for spring and summer. And like I said, I'm traveling around a lot. I'm going to be down in Florida. I'm going to be in Colorado. Going to be up in Rochester. So going to get to Wisconsin and Minnesota. So I'm going to get to see a little bit of the country, which is kind of fun. So yeah. So, we'll just, we'll keep out here. We'll keep grinding. So make sure you follow Young Patrick Does Comedy on Instagram. You know me. So do that. Make sure you like, share, comment, do all the things. Be nice. We don't want you in our hidden comments. Okay. And I'll see you next week.